Hello and welcome to my Palia Loft tutorial. For this build, you're going to need to craft a few things. The first one is the gourmet soup bowl. Alright, you may be thinking, why a soup bowl? Don't worry, we'll get to that later. The next item that you're going to need is the wood plank paver. When you build them, they build in sets of 20, so I made 2 sets of these, so 40 in total. Depending on if you decide to use any walls or blockades on your top floor, you may need to make some more materials. For me, I chose the builder's wood pillars, but it's completely up to you. And then last but not least is the builder's wood floor. This is probably going to be the one that you need the most of. I think I made around 50 of them. So the next thing that you want to do from here is decide where you want your stairs to start exactly. For me, I took a few things into account, and one of the things that I was thinking is that Singularity 6 might in the future add some openings on the sides and potentially in the front of that harvest house for like a balcony or other rooms, right? So I was thinking, let's keep those openings clear and I'll start building somewhere else. So I decided on the back corner where it's a bit of a dead end right now. I was like, this will be perfect for where I want to start my stairs. Once you've decided on where you want to start building, then the fun begins. So the first thing that you want to do is grab your singular gourmet soup bowl and place it. Now the placement of the bowl you might have to play around with a little bit, but the key is that you're going to place one of the wooden planks on top of it in the hopes of getting that plank to look like it's connected to the wall. And the benefit of the gourmet soup bowl is that it gives you the perfect amount of height in between steps so that you can still walk up the stairs without having to jump up them. Once you've got your first wooden plank placed, from here you want to go back and carefully pick up the gourmet soup bowl that is underneath it. I say carefully so you to make sure that you don't accidentally pick up the plank that you just placed. After you've done this, it's rinse and repeat. So place the gourmet soup bowl, put a plank on top. Place a bowl, put a plank on top. One thing that's super nice about this build is that at any time if you need to move the location of the stairs, you can select the bottom paver and from there it will move every connected paver to it. You don't have to worry about moving each individual one, thank goodness. So when I began this build, I knew that I wanted to do split level stairs, but what I wasn't sure on is how high I wanted that split level to start. What ended up being a huge factor in how high that split level was was where the beam started on that side of the wall. You'll notice that my character's head started to clip through the beams a bit, and it definitely cut down on visibility. So I decided that I wanted the split level to be at a height where my head wasn't clipping through and I wasn't struggling to see when getting up the stairs. At this point, I did have to remove some of the stairs that I had placed so they fit well with the height of this new split level. So it was here that I started running into a bit of some difficulty, and that is any of the building blocks do not like touching any wooden part or wooden beam in that part of the house. What I had to do to get around this was just push out those steps a smidge so they didn't intersect with the wooden beams. It's certainly not a perfect fix, so if you guys come up with something better, let me know down in the comments below. Because of that wooden section on the wall, I knew that I was going to run into some issues if I kept going the way that I was. So I decided to do an additional singular split level just to get the stairs a bit further along the wall, and then from there I could start with the floor. Originally, I was hoping to have the wooden floors connected to the stairs, but because of the stairs sticking out a bit from that wooden beam, they just did not line up, sadly. So I did have to leave a gap and later filled in with some pillars so nobody fell down into the hole to the second floor. My Palia homeowner's insurance is not quite that good. Once I did reach the other side of the fully wooden wall, I did start running into some issues of some gap on that side, but I was able to fix it by going to the other end of the wall, the one with the wooden portion in the middle, and in the right corner started placing some of the wooden floors. Thankfully, they can intersect as long as you have one of them connected to a wall. In this case, I connected it to that white portion of the wall. As you're doing this, just make sure to be careful that they're not actually sitting on top of each other, but properly intersecting one another. And also make sure that your floors are facing the right direction. That was something I noticed I screwed up on afterwards, so I had to go back and fix a couple of them to appease my OCD. So here's a problem that I wasn't able to really find a workaround for, and that is getting to this other wooden middle section on this side of the room. So I was left with a gap there. However, I was able to cover it up later, and I'll show you how I did it. Now it was time to block that awkward gap. So I used those wooden pillars that we made earlier. I played around with a few different things, including the builder's wooden wall. However, I felt like the wall just looked like too closed off, so that's why I ended up going with the pillar. Originally, I was looking for something shorter, but I could not find anything. hopefully by the time later in the future, maybe when you're watching this video, there might be some other options that you can use as a barrier. I chose to have the pillars going down the stairs as well and try to get the spacing as well as I could, really utilizing that free placement control that lets you place them anywhere. But you certainly don't have to place them on the stairs. You can do them under the stairs, on the side of the stairs, play around with it and see what you prefer. The only thing left for us to do is decorate. So earlier in the video, I mentioned that hole on the back wall that I could not fill in for the life of me. So I ended up creating this fireplace. If anyone is interested on how to make something like that, I might be able to make a short video about that in the future, explaining how. And that's all that there is to it. I hope that you enjoyed this cozy loft tutorial video. If you'd like to see more, consider subscribing to my channel and let me know what you thought down in the comments below. I hope to see you in the next one.